Okay. Call the council meeting to order. Councilmember Martinez said he couldn't attend the work session, but he should be here momentarily. So we're also joined by Councilmember Shiltz, Mayor ProTem McFerren, Councilmember Dominguez, and Councilmember Parizek. So is there a motion? First up is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the agenda is approved. Next up is item number 3, approval of the consent agenda. And that includes the city council minutes from April 1st, the special council minutes from April 1st, and the special meeting from April 4th. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is approved. Next up is some recognitions that I'd like to make. First of all, this is National Animal Control Appreciation Week. The National Animal Control Appreciation Week is dedicated to representing the hard work and dedication of animal control officers who protect the welfare of animals and ensure public safety. These professionals handle a variety or various tasks, including rescuing stray animals, investigating animal cruelty cases, and enforcing animal-related laws. So very much appreciated. I know that when I moved to West Liberty, I do a lot of walking around the downtown area and see a lot of feral cats and other concerns in the community. And so hats off to Eddie Ortiz and to our police officers for their good work in this regard. It's not always an easy thing to do. Also, this is National Electric Lineman's Day. National Electric Lineman Day honors the brave men and women who work on power lines to ensure the continuous delivery of electricity. These linemen perform dangerous tasks, often in challenging conditions, to maintain and repair electrical infrastructure. And a couple of things that I'd like to say about that. My granddaughter the other day noticed all the bumps and bruises on my hands because over the last week, I was an apprentice to a electrician hooking up electricity to a garage that I own in another community. Having done that, I have a great amount of appreciation for what it takes for our electricians. The ability that we don't think about the efforts that go in when we can flip a switch and lights go on or lights go off is amazing, the things that they go through. When linemen first started their work, the fatality rate of linemen was 50%. Think about that. That's very sobering. And how important this work is. When we hooked up the 200 amp to the meter, the breaker the other day, the electrician said, stand out of the way because if something flies here, you'll be touching the building next door. So this kind of work is very critical, and we want to appreciate our electric linemen, Cody Franklin, John Mead, Ryan DeVore, and Quinn Chaputa here at the city of West Liberty. So I express my great appreciation for their work. This is also when we honor National Administrative Day that celebrates the contributions of administrative professionals who keep organizations running smoothly. These individuals handle a wide range of tasks, from managing schedules to communication to ensuring effective office operations. So we also want to take a moment and extend our appreciation to our city clerk, Shari Hoffert, deputy city clerk, Emily Reinhardt, utilities billing clerk, Melissa Stout, front desk, clerks, Bethany Hans and Naomi Herrera, here at the city. Their organizational skills and dedication are essential to the success of the operations of our city. So thank you for the hard work, and I believe that all of these employees deserve us to stand and applaud. Next up is item number 5A, city engineer Leo Foley, who will give us an update and also a presentation tonight.
Well, I'll do the update first.
Okay.
So first thing first, the wastewater treatment plant. Craig had asked us to look into maybe, trying to get part of the first phase out early, and we're having an electrical, the hang up is our electrical engineer trying to decide how do we do that without some of the other things we're doing, so we're gonna meet on that later this week, and we'll be with Craig, and I think it's gonna work, because I think the rest of our design is up to speed and in really good shape, so we feel pretty confident on that one. Well number two, the acidization is done. They seemed extraordinarily confident that it worked very, very well. And that includes Austin as well as, Northway. They are putting the new pump back in tomorrow. When they stir it up, there's lots of solids, lots of things, and they put a working pump, an old pump down in there to try to, get all of it cleaned out and all the solids out of there. And so they think they've gotten that done, so the crane comes tomorrow to put the new pump in. I was seriously hoping it would come today, but tomorrow it is. So we should know by the end of the week. Everybody seems to think that the acidization worked very, very well. Okay, hopefully good news on that one.
Good.
We have, after the meeting, after the presentation, we have the bid opening that happened, and then, the only other thing is the 4th Street water main. And Christie's been working on that 4th Street water main, and it sounds like, according to Austin now, we are ahead of the game, and the developer who was pushing to get this thing done is still having some issues just getting a permit or something, so we're in pretty good shape at this point. What's that? Funding too? Funding quarrel. Okay. So are we ready for me to give the instinct?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's first see if there's any questions on what, the projects that, Leo outlined to us.
And I just have one more to add before you ask your questions. Leo reached out and we will, because we had a busy night tonight with these items, we will be presenting the sewer water rate study at the May 6th meeting. So,
And we're essentially,
yeah.
Christie, essentially complete, Christie and your staff, because your staff has to work very hard with us on that, so we do appreciate that. But we turned in the draft of the report. Typically what happens is you guys review it, I do a little more review, we might do a few more what ifs, but we'll be ready at the next meeting to give you a
Okay.
presentation.
Good.
I didn't want to take away from that work that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so let's just go right to the next slide here. Try to be a little cognizant of your time. I'll try to be done by 7 o'clock. I'll work as good as we can. I don't think you need introduction of me, but Christie is, we're proposing her to be the assistant city engineer. She's been doing a lot of work for you guys. We just talked about the rate study, the Fourth Avenue water main. And also Amanda Gravel has been working on that Evans Ave project, but she's pretty new engineer, so really Christie's behind her also when it comes to that. So we feel really strong that Christie knows a lot about West Liberty. Plus, Christie and I work very close together on lots of different projects, and you'll be seeing a lot of them today. Let's go to the contents, and we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. The 5th bullet down, West Liberty items of interest. So Lee provided us 3 or 4 things. So what we did is we put those in here but then we put some projects around them to kind of explain what was going on, so bear with us, we'll get there. First one is part of the introduction. Where are our offices at? Next slide, please. So as you can see, shows yellow on my slide, but you're in the middle of Coralville and the Quad Cities. So you're about 50 minutes from my house, and you're probably about 25 minutes from the Coralville office. The Coralville office, I managed it for the first 5 years I was working for V&K, and we work really close together. So it really helps to have their force is about 20 people, our force is about 16 people. So together, we've got quite a group right on top of you almost. All right, so that's the other thing. That's where we're at there. Next one is our engineering approach. Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I want to get to some other things, but big thing is cost-effective services. We really pride ourselves in being able to know what we're doing and to do it at a cost-effective. And I've had clients before. How do you know you're so cost-effective? Well, it's very difficult sometimes to always see that in engineering. You're selling time and you're based on rates. So we feel like we have a strong professional group that can sell time, but our rates, we get audited because our biggest client is Illinois DOT. Iowa DOT is also a big client. We get audited all the time. I just got done, and you're gonna see the Burlington, Iowa project. I just got done 2 weeks ago, getting audited by the Iowa DOT. And what they basically told me is your rates are very low compared to all of your competitors. So we know that our overhead is low, and what they don't usually say rates. They say your overhead is extremely low, because that's how they pay, is based on overhead. And in Iowa, it doesn't help you to have a low overhead when you work for the Iowa DOT. Illinois, it does. In Iowa, we hope that changes someday. But right now, a low overhead almost hurts you in our fields. The way it is. Something we're very proud of, and we tell everybody we can when we're in interviews, so gotta hear it. Firm history. I'm not even gonna touch too much of this because you guys know a lot. What I am gonna touch is the front page. I might have forgot to say. Beanstra and Kim, a Kleinfelder company. And did all of you see the press release? Because I sent that to Lee and told
Yes, got it.
Okay. So I'm on the board of directors for V&K. We've been at it for 14 months with Kleinfelder. Bob Beanstra told me one time that we get asked to merge or to be bought or something every week, every single week. And this is for years and years. Part of it is because of our contacts. Part of it is because of our overhead. But Kleinfelder uses the exact same strategic planner that we do. And I think that strategic planner put them on to us. So they've been tough to get away from, but for 14 months, we've been talking to them. They started out as a municipal engineering firm. They're 3,000 people now. They've made it to this 3,000 thing. They're on the West Coast and the East Coast. They've got nothing in the Midwest. Basically, we're gonna be their Midwest arm, and they're gonna provide us a lot of support, not so much in people. I mean, we can use some of their professionals, but like, for instance, Illinois surveyors are extremely hard to find. If we find a Illinois surveyor firm we wanna buy, they're gonna purchase it for us and give it to us. Almost all those kind of things they're willing to do. So we feel really good about this. We don't see towns like you. We don't see any changes with people. They pretty much said, we want every single person and go find others to bring in. So we feel really good. Christie's up and comer in our firm. And seriously, we were extraordinarily worried about people like that. I mean, I have a lot of stock in the company. She didn't have stock. I mean, when you're old, I'm sorry. 33 years old with children and families, and you're not interested in buying stock. It's too difficult to buy stock. And I certainly couldn't have at that time. But still, we realize that's who we are. We have a lot of those people. So we voted with our stockholders. 98% voted yes. So and we have 100 stockholders. So that's pretty good. All right, next thing, we work in Eastern Iowa a lot. We work for the biggest cities. Davenport is one of my biggest clients, but we also work for the smallest. I'm also the city engineer for Sebula, town of 450 people. So that's how I came up. I grew up being a city engineer, and I like being a city engineer. My firm likes that our top people want to be city engineers, and so does Kleinfelder. So we're all in the same business. Team experience, I'm gonna run through this. Again, almost everybody on this team you've seen. Maybe not physically seen, but they've done work for you. Almost everybody here. Mark Sipe is currently your wastewater engineer. He might be one of the best process engineers in the state. You'll see a Clinton project that he's working on. It is unbelievable, the things he can do. Jacob Lucas, again, he's doing that wastewater treatment plant for you. Just wanted to make sure you see those people. Funding experience. Now, your city manager has asked me to start looking into trail grants because trail grants are pretty, I don't want to say easy to get. They're easier to get than some of the other grants we have, and we've had lots of success. Your trail, Liberty Trail on Elm Street, we did get a grant for you to do that trail back in the day. It was years ago, but you did get a DOT grant to do, when I say to do it, doesn't mean they paid for all of it, but they paid for some of it. You can see on all of these, the state and tribal assistance grant. Last time we did a wastewater treatment plant for you, we got one of those. Iowa DOT, I can't remember the name of the street now.
Columbus,
What's that?
was it Columbus or
No, the one that goes to the country club.
Prairie Street?
Yes, you got a grant for that. So we're successful at getting a lot of these grants. QCQA, again, our firm prides ourselves that the top people are involved with the projects. I talked about it's a small project, but the sewer project that we're gonna talk about tonight, Amanda did some great work working on it, but she was learning. Christie was over the top of her on almost every little piece, Christie's right down to what AutoCAD file you pull out and use and how do you use it. And Amanda's as sharp as a human can be. And then all as I'm doing is I'm looking at schedules and saying, hey, where are we? We need to make that schedule. What are we doing? Do we get the permit documents right? Do we have the bid documents right? So that's how we work. City coordination, again, we have a big staff and we do a lot of different things. So as city engineer, a lot of times my job is just coordinating even inside of our own walls. We feel like it's a great value. We feel like we specialize in municipal engineering. The last bullet on here I put specifically for this meeting. Monthly staff meetings have helped coordination with the city manager, public works, streets, water, wastewater, electrical. Part of this is my own problem. Part of it isn't. We do city engineering for so many communities and they all operate differently. I've never, ever, even hardly talked to the mayor or the city administrator in Davenport. Almost never. It's below them. In a lot of other communities, I only talk to the city manager, nobody else. This community before Lee, that's kind of how it was. I've talked to the city manager, and there's, sorry Lee, but 4 of them before you that I've worked for, and that's how they all operate. Now we're operating where they want me to be involved with the staff. It really works better for me. But it took us a few steps to get to that part. I think we're there now. I think things are, in my idea, things are working very well. I just thought we'd put that one in. Next one. It should go to experience. Yep, there you go. All right, so this is, now we're starting to get into some of the questions. How do we, what experience do we have with the community engagement? And we have a ton. What experience do we have having success? So the first one I wanted to talk about, and we'll get to this in a minute, so you don't want to move yet. Walcott. Walcott's a new client that we've just started working for. Christie just did a water main for them. And the reason it's successful is you'll see when she talks about the schedule is extraordinarily tight and we did get it done. The Dubuque Historic Millwork District, that's when I project management a few years ago. My son took me there recently to go to dinner. Him and his fiance said, there's this really cool place in Dubuque. You've probably never been there. Yeah, I've been there a lot years ago. So, but there was tons of coordination. LeClaire, Wisconsin Street is one we just finished up. Trail, roundabout. The roundabout is the middle school was having all kinds of problems with traffic. The roundabout solved those problems 100%. We've gotten so many people from the school that are so thankful. We also have a grant And I would like everybody to keep their fingers crossed because the grant is a federal grant to have a bridge to go over I-80, and we all know federal grants right now are a little queasy. So right now, we're holding on. Community engagement, another one Christy and I have worked together on is Burlington. We met with Burlington City city partnership and the downtown group every 2 weeks for about 3 years. And that's how that project, so there's a lot of coordination. I have nothing to do with Rock Island. Christy did all of the design, but she's in the middle of that right now, and you meet them every week or every month, I mean?
Once a month.
Oh, so you'll hear about that. And then the last one, how do we involve West Liberty community in stakeholders? So things coming up, I know parks and trails, those are really ones that need it. Surprisingly, they need it almost as much as anything. People are interested and want to be involved in trails. Wastewater treatment plant, maybe a lot of the people in the community, but boy, West Liberty Foods is very interested. So digester, whether we do one, whether we don't do one, how do we do funding flexibility is all part of it. And we've been doing that. And then the last thing is on Rainbow Street, on Maxon Street, we did have neighborhood meetings. We need to be doing that. That is the key to getting those done. On Maxon or Rainbow, the one we did now, we were not going to do the sidewalks the way we did them, except some of the neighbors said, we want sidewalks and we want you to come up and down Maxon Street with it and connect into here where the school was, and we did it. So that's all good. Lighting on that one. Lighting came up from the old our superintendent here, but also the neighbors wanted that lighted. They wanted a lighted trail. That's why you have it. All right, next one we'll talk real quick about is Walcott. Christy, can you?
Yeah, so the picture in the top right-hand corner, the attachment one, is the RFQ that we got from the city of Walcott. Doesn't tell a whole lot. It was 1 block of water main with valves and, excuse me, we put in 2 sanitary manholes at the end of the line. There's 2 separate ones. You can't see it too well there. We were given the RFQ just a few days before the due date. We ended up getting it in. We had heard, that was on a Tuesday. By Friday, we'd heard that we'd won it. The schedule wanted the project completed before the asphalt plants closed down, which is at the end of November, beginning of December. This was in August, middle of August, that we'd heard that we got it. So we had to rush the design. We got the design and the permit application done within a few weeks and survey for the whole block. Done within just a few weeks. We opened bids October 17th. And then we had the whole water main and sidewalk and driveways, and then the 2 manholes all completed by the end of November. They came back and did seeding just last week on the project. The city is very happy with the end result. And the public works director has told our Coralville office manager that he didn't think we would be able to get it done within the time frame.
I don't know if he's gonna say that out loud, but that's what he told Dave. He said, Dave, I really never thought you guys would get this done. So anyway, that's a good success story. Next one, please. Kind of already hammered home on the Millwork District, but that has got some national awards for that project. So we're very, very proud of the things we've done. Green streets, sustainability. This is almost the flagship for the state of Iowa. When you want to point at green streets and flexibility, sustainability, that's a really nice one. Next one. I did also hit on Wisconsin and 35th. I did want you to see though that roundabout, the day after school started, the assistant school superintendent sent me, they've got cameras everywhere in these schools, sent me a camera watching the cars going around our roundabout and told me it was the greatest thing he'd ever seen, you know, so, not only did we build it, but we had modeled that extensively to make sure it would work. Next one is Burlington. Burlington's one that heavy duty, coordination, not only for the flood protection, but we also did the downtown. So Jefferson Street, Main Street got thrown into this because they got a Tiger grant back in the day. Christie didn't have a lot to do with the design. She had some to do with the construction though, including getting it closed out by the Iowa DOT. And I have to thank her for that because I think that ended up being $26 million mitigation grant. The project was probably 35 million. That's a big project for Iowa DOT to close out because it's not up their alley. It's not a highway, it's not a road. City's very, very happy with it. Next one is Rock Island, and that one is Christie's baby, so I'll let her take over on that one.
So there are four blocks of existing road that we completely rehabilitated. We did sanitary sewer, water main, we added storm sewer. And then there's a pedestrian mall in downtown Rock Island that we made back into a through street. It hasn't been a through street since the 70s. So we did that along with lighting and site furnishings, benches, trash cans. Down in the bottom corner, you can see there's Rock Island letters that we're putting in as it's kind of a picture photo op. There's Arts Alley in the downtown Rock Island. We completely redid the pavement. We added vendor stalls and lighting, and Quad City Arts put out an RFQ for murals up on the building sides. This project it's a lot of work. We were in constant contact with the Rebuild Downtown, or the Downtown Rock Island Alliance, who is headed by Jack Cohen. He's fantastic. He is on the Chamber of Commerce. He was instrumental in getting the grant funding that we have for this. But along with that, we had to keep them in the loop. And we also had to have, we had several public meetings before construction started and surveys citywide to get input on what the scope should include. And then we had many, many council meetings. It was probably 5 or 6 months worth of council meetings, once a month at least, that we were there presenting new scope items, and changing them.
Like all downtown projects, you dig and God knows what you dig up sometimes. So, same old thing.
This is where they have the Grand Prix. Like
Yes.
area, so
Yes.
they had to move it.
Yes,
Because of the construction,
Right.
I think.
yes.
So it'll be really nice if it's
It
done,
will.
right?
We're still in construction.
Oh.
We've got,
Done by September.
it was supposed to be done by December. We had some
Okay.
underground utility issues that we had to deal with, but
Well, if it is done by September, it'd be really nice.
It
for
should.
all the people to Be down there. and
it
see
should be. There's a parking lot at Blue Cat that we're turning into a green lawn. So it'll have like fire pits and
Oh,
overhead
nice.
lighting and everything too. So it's gonna be really nice down there during construction. Once a month, we've been having business owner meetings. We've been meeting with all of the business owners that are affected by the construction to hear their concerns and see what we can do.
How we got Amanda Graville is in college. She had worked on this. And as a Jack?
Yes.
Jack had pretty much told one of our engineers that if you don't hire her, you're crazy, and, so we ended up hiring her as an intern. He was right. We would have been crazy, I told somebody, I said, I like to kid her. I tell her, I said, the only reason I hired her, she was on a golf team. I thought maybe she could help my golf game. But she was also a 4.0 student, so it worked out beautifully. All right, now let's get to the sustainable engineering practices. So this one, sometimes I have to think through, what do we do? Why do we do it? What can be sustainable? Wastewater treatment plant are more of the easier side to look at. Now, some of it's not glamorous. Variable frequency drives and energy efficient lighting, but it means a lot at wastewater treatment plants, and people that don't do it pay the price. We do it all the time. I asked Craig today, he's not here. I asked Craig today how much gray water they use, and he says we put the gray water system in the last project, but we will, again, we'll enhance it in this project so that we use that gray water. Anytime you see outside hydrants that, are usually gray water, they're washed down water, priming of pumps. So that's all stuff that we do and are doing. Future, now this is one you have to think a little bit about, because future now, you have to think about West Liberty Foods. Are they gonna get bigger? And we've all been around them. They can change tomorrow. You just don't know where they're gonna be. But things you can do, solar power, future wastewater treatment plant, solar power lights at wastewater treatment plants. We don't have that at your plant. We have done that at plants. Some cities like it, some don't, but it is stuff we've been thinking about doing. We are just today signing a agreement for construction, meaning the bids came in a little bit high, Preston, Iowa, but they signed off to do the project. That is gonna be algae treatment, one of the first in the state of Iowa. So again, if, let's just say, somebody came in and bought West Liberty Foods, maybe it's West Liberty Foods, it's other people, whatever. They decide they don't wanna do pre-treatment anymore. You could be able to pipe their flow, maybe algae treat it somewhere at our treatment plant. That's the type of things that we do and we think about. You'll see more on that coming. Biogas usage, we've already done a study with West Liberty Foods and the city, paid for a study or backed a study that was paid for by the state to look at how we could use biogas. If some of those laws or regulations change and you start to get credits again, that could be a real game changer for you guys. And we're looking at it all the time. Road projects. Recycled concrete. We do use recycled concrete in West Liberty. Some towns don't use it. We use it all the time here. And it helps get you lower bids. And the DOT, if you do it right and spec the right DOT specifications, you get a really good quality product. So we've been doing that. Drainable pavements for parking lots and walkways. Again, we try to do that everywhere we can. Sometimes it's not as easy to do. On future projects coming in West Liberty, we see ourselves trying to do more and more of that. Even the trails projects may be coming up. Christy did a park in Burlington. We did 5 other parks in Davenport 2 years ago. So we've done a lot of this drainable pavement, a lot of little, what they call pocket wetlands. What else do they call those? Rain gardens, thank you. So we've done rain gardens, that type of thing, trying to slow water down. It doesn't solve big rainfall problems, but it does solve nuisance problems that sometimes that's what people complain the most about. Smart street lighting, again, I think it's the first one in Iowa. We have plans that have just been bid on Mount Vernon. So this smart street lighting, what that means is you're driving down the street and all of a sudden the lights come on as you're driving. Kind of like, a lot of things happen now, but you don't see it in street lighting very often. But it supposedly saves a lot of money. So how is it gonna work? It's one of the first ones done, but that's something we need to be thinking about in West Liberty too. I was thinking about it on Rainbow Drive. Right now, the costs are very high. You probably wouldn't wanna do it, but if this pilot goes well and things change, it might be something to think about. Next one. I've got a few quick minutes, so I'll just go through. Clinton has probably got more innovative design stuff than anything V&K's ever done, anything that's almost done in the state of Iowa. It's the largest SRF project ever done in the state of Iowa. It's $130 million worth of construction. So I'm not saying this is what we want to do here. I'm just trying to show you things we've done. These reactors here, they're anaerobic, so you don't have anything blowing in them. You don't have anything. They're using the gas. Biogas is being used. The other thing that's being done here is the next page. Thank you. If you can go one more. Next page, this bio screw is being used again because they're bringing in ADM's flow. ADM's flow used to be completely treated by ADM. ADM, and the reason I said that about West Liberty, ADM decided we want out of the wastewater treatment business. Too many rules, too many regulations, we're getting in too much trouble. We want to send all of our raw sewage to Clinton. We had to more than double their wastewater treatment plant to do it. This bio screw, the problem they were having, same of the problems you had, they couldn't find any farmers that wanted to take their biosolids for a while. This is going to make Class A clean as a whistle sludge. And it's very, very difficult thing to do. It treats it heats it to like 180 degrees. We have to have cooling water. We had to have so much, Clinton, where it is, there's so much groundwater. We had to be draining all this groundwater, and we decided to use the groundwater to cool the thing, and it has saved them a ton of money. So we're very proud of that. Next one, please. Why the V&K team? I think we've already showed you, we have a lot of municipal experience. I don't think there's anybody in the state that can almost compete with us when it comes to municipal experience. We've been doing West Liberty for 25 years. I'm not saying every project's been perfect. I'm not saying that I haven't made mistakes. Engineering's not a perfect science. There are mistakes that happen. But I can guarantee you, we're gonna stick with you and we're gonna fix whatever happens. And whatever goes wrong, we are gonna go and get it done. So you won't have projects that don't work. VNK has been, is a city engineer for over 5 Iowa communities. They don't do that if they don't like you. You know, if the word gets around if you're not doing good work. And the word has gotten around about us that we do very good work. And Christie asked this question, what do you mean 70 communities? You said 35. Well, a lot of our communities are bigger communities that have their own city engineer. And again, they don't hire you. They don't have to hire engineers. We're not low bidders. We're efficient engineers and they hire us. Davenport one time has told me they get in trouble because they said they want to hire VNK too often and they get too many complaints. I don't see it as a problem, but they do. Anyway, it makes for a lot of relationships up and down the thing. Not that everything goes smooth. It doesn't, but we have good relationships and we use them when we have to. Our approach is at will, just like I'm here tonight. You don't want me here. That's how we work. We don't have you sign a contract for 2 years. We don't have you sign anything. We want you to want us. We want to work for you. You are the bread and butter of B&K, and we want you to want us. We do think that right now we have a really good relationship going on with West Liberty. I do know there were some bumps in the road, but I think we have fixed those. I think we've addressed them. I know Doug DeBolt has stopped and talked to you guys, and that goes up to the very top of our chain. And it's not only about West Liberty, it's about anybody. Hey, guys, we need to do better. If there's a problem, we need to get it fixed. So if you need to start having weekly meetings, do it. And that goes throughout our company. That's all I have. So now I'm willing to take any questions.
Well, thank you very much. Questions from the council?
I just had one input. So with the merger, the new engineer service, they do have an electrical component.
I forgot to mention that. No, they have what is called power and gas lines.
Okay.
That they have two things that V&K do not do. Power and gas lines are one of them, and you have your own power, so that is interesting. And then the next thing they do is material testing and geotech that we don't do. And I can tell you this, the big cities are almost excited about it. They want, when Kleinfelder comes, would you bring them over? Because they're not too happy with what's going on in the Quad Cities right now between Team and Terracon. Not that they're bad contractors, but for one reason or another, there's a lot of cities that just aren't that happy. And even in this city, All American was complaining that they couldn't get anybody to show up on time. That's a problem. If you're having a concrete pour and there's nobody there to test the concrete, you got a problem. And it happened here at least twice. So we feel those are gonna
They have
be,
their own folks.
they have their own votes. 800 technicians.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's funny. I lost a really good inspector and he went out to work for, I forget, one of the federal agencies out west. And as soon as he heard we were with Kleinfelder, he goes, oh, I know those guys a lot. You know, and he said they're probably the best testing firm on the West Coast. And their number one competitor is Terracon out there. That's kind of interesting, but we've never done that. So I asked them just recently, yesterday, they were here yesterday talking. So far, everybody's been just excited, but yesterday I asked them, so what will it take to get it? You know, Davenport's asking me when. And they said, well, we've got mobile labs, so we're gonna get together. They haven't given me a time, but they said we have mobile labs that we could move in if we really decide we want to do it. With that, I don't think there's gonna be any other big changes from what we see.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Last call for questions.
Oh, one last thing. Christie told me this one. So they're from, their home office is San Diego. My wife lived in San Diego for about 10 years and you know, San Diego's cool compared to the Midwest. So they told us yesterday, they've already had a couple people wanting to move back to the Midwest now that they've got V&K. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Well, they just had an earthquake, so.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next up are the city staff reports, and those are in the packet from the city manager who, if Leo had mentioned well number 2, the first thing I think that the city manager and her report had was well number 2. Yeah, so it's an official council meeting. Also, Ally submitted lots of graphs and information on the library report, so are there any questions on either of those reports? Hearing none, thank you very much for them. And we'll move on to committee reports. And I think the only meeting has been that Councilmember Parizek and I were part of the fire department meeting last night. Do you want to take the lead? I have a tendency to talk on this.
Well, we're still working through the bylaws and we're still getting the wording right. So, we're gonna request, that we can, we're still working on getting an attorney to look at through the bylaws. So like I said, it's been a little slower than we probably hoped for, but I think the way of getting it 100% correct and not having to go back and having gray areas or whatever, suspicions or whatever is gonna be, great for us.
Yeah. It seems like there was some question. Oh, the question came up about proposal on the bylaws to the time frame on billing to the city and whether that was needed or not. And I think we got that worked out, that we've agreed as a city, our quarterly payments will be on the 5th of the month. And they then wanted to send a bill, so the bill will come in by the 10th of the month beforehand. You know, we wanted to make sure, like this month, we have first council meeting on the first day of the month, then we have the 15th. And so we wanted to made sure that we had time for approval of the bill payment, so.
And if it helps going forward in that process, so council has the option to look at the annual payment and approve a resolution for a prepayment. So those are just thought processes to, as you're working through that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Good.
Any questions about the fire department meeting? Next one is not set. And I made the motion that we have the president notify us until we have an attorney that's going to review the bylaws. We really don't have anything that isn't already being worked on. So we don't have a regular meeting set up yet for that. Okay, next up is item number 6A, vendor voucher claim list number 1 in the amount of $696,300.95. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
I just had a question about, and maybe this was discussed when I wasn't at a council meeting, the Arthur J. Gallagher risk management. Just what that was. There's like 3 items on 5, 6, and 7.
Yep, that is our insurance premiums.
Okay.
So the wind buyback is an additional coverage, because insurance companies have somewhat changed the, damage with derecho winds or straight line winds or the strength of winds. If it's not a tornado, if it's straight line winds, it provides an additional coverage to cover those, because historically West Liberty has been more damaged by straight line and derecho type winds versus tornadoes. So we made the additional investment in that coverage. And then it allows us to keep that premium low. We can always provide the information on the premium to get a little more detail on it if you need to. Councilmember Dominguez. The cyber liability premium is just that. It's to cover the liability that has to do with our use of our electronic systems that are connected to cloud bases and our transaction-based systems like our credit card systems and things like that. It provides coverage if we were to be compromised as well. And then, again, the active shooter is just the additional coverage for that incident situation. Thank you.
I just, out of curiosity, I thought it was, I looked at the, bills, that were paid to Fred Speed, and it was around a little over 200, or over, a little over $2,000. And I thought it's great that we're purchasing from a local company, and we're also fortunate that we have a local company that has the things that often are needed on short notice. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll go to item 6B, which is vendor voucher claim number 2 in the amount of $550 to Cardinal Graphics. And I suspect that we have someone who would like to abstain from voting.
The vote, yes, please,
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. It has, those opposed, nay. It's approved, and we move to item number 7, and this is the time for set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. And please state your name and address for the record and keep your comments to no more than 2 minutes. Are there public comments? Are there public comments? Are there public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to city council public comments and correspondence. And I usually start to my right, so we'll go to my left, with Councilmember Parizek.
No, I don't have anything at this time.
Nope.
Okay, I want to, yeah, I think this is the time when I can mention about that we had a meeting with Deepak Gary regarding, we had an incident on where a warning was submitted to him for we're starting his staff starting a fire when there was a countywide burning ban. That was followed up with a conversation between he and our nuisance employee, Eddie Ortiz. So Chief Hauser, Lee and I met with Mr. Gary and went over concerns with that issue. He had apologized earlier about the issue. I feel like that we worked through how to handle those issues, and that he also said that he would be issuing an apology to Mr. Ortiz to when he has the opportunity. All right. Mayor ProTem.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilmember
I have
Shiltz.
a couple comments recently. I did have someone mention, you know, they're always wondering about leaf pickup in the spring, just because a lot of times we don't quite get to it in the fall. Depending on the weather, I know we continually kind of discuss this, so I know it's worked on, and so I said someone else just talking about it. I'm curious if we ever get anywhere on doing anything or anything worked out.
So from a public works perspective, Adam, you're welcome to weigh in on that. For us, having staff, because this is construction season for our staff. So, outside of if we were to hire seasonal people to specifically work on it, we do not have enough staffing, to cover, that time frame. Because they've already started working on construction with sidewalks and mowing. And there's street projects, filling in potholes and things. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, Adam? or-
More often than not, they get the leaves out after the season's over.
Mhm.
Most of the people know about it.
And I kind of referred to, just the garden waste pickup that
Mhm.
occurs too, and just that
Yeah.
there's ways to kind of
Yeah.
filter it into that.
But again, I mean, they can buy the the leaf bags and put it in bins and all that stuff, and we get it when brush, well, which started.
Yep.
The second or third of April or whatever, so it actually is tomorrow again, so.
And then we have a spring, open burning as well, for a period of time that allows them to burn, those leaves as if they, don't want to bag them. And I know the communications, we work with making sure we're updating those posts and, it's on the city calendar as well. But as far as us, I mean, that would be council, if council wants us to, as a whole wants us to continue to take a look at. I would just have the public works director, speak to you more, on that and what the staffing and what our schedules look like as far as being able to manage that duty. Okay,
Great. I did also receive a comment on a fee from the police department. I did just have this conversation yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to check in yet. It's for, I believe, a fee for a duplicate or just to receive a copy of a police report. Is like a $15 fee possibly?
Yeah, most of those are for traffic accidents and stuff, like, those are usually paid for by the insurance companies, but people can go get those if they choose to. I usually advise citizens like to have the insurance company get it, because it's kind of what you pay your insurance for, is you pay that themselves, but they also have the option to get their own copy if they wish.
And we charge a fee for that. I'll follow up. But yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
sure. Councilmember Martinez.
Yeah, not at this time.
Okay, all right. Okay, city manager.
I had correspondence with, Miss Linda Brady. She had brought, she had emailed, a year ago, inquiring on the Dutton Complex parking area, and just, identifying that, the city still has lack of ADA, availability at the complex. I did provide communication with Ms. Brady to explain, the challenges that we've had with our property tax reform. And we do have it within our strategic plan to update the parking lot area. Unfortunately, we have to make hard decisions about where the funds that we do have, get applied. And we'll continue to, again, continue to look at what we can do. Is there a grant that's available for us to update that and work with staff as well? And that's really what we have to offer right now for that. But I haven't had a chance to circle back around to staff entirely, just to see if they've identified anything different or even talk to our engineers as well, because that communication just came in a few days ago.
Is it because it's gravel?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think there's 2 out there right now, 2 or 3
Yeah,
handicap spots. that
Yeah.
we did. I can talk with Mac more about them.
and, so I'll continue, and I've communicated to her that we'll continue to work on that and take a look to see what options we have. At least if we have a gravel parking lot, do we have an option to at least provide an area that we can have, a concrete space with the ADA? But again, I mean, as we know, coming through our budget, but it's just, again, trying to allocate funding for that. The other, item I had, Jeanette Christopherson reached out to me, a few months ago, and I just had an opportunity to follow up on our conversation. As she and her husband had traveled the United States, they had came through a Purple Heart community. And, she had just made a recommendation and asked if I would look into that. And so I did send an email, and contacted the organizers of the Purple Heart communities. The mayor and I received correspondence back from them today. And so my next step is I'll reach out to the American Legion and have a conversation, and, we'll take a look at, moving towards that direction to have the city of West Liberty be a part of the Purple Heart Trail. Especially with our long history of military, and our patriotic and our appreciation for those who have served in our community. I thought maybe if we could even try to identify it close to Memorial Day, it might be, a really nice, program. So I appreciate her reaching out and sharing her travels and what she's seen. So we have that opportunity, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. City Clerk Hoffert.
I do not have anything at this time.
Okay. Item 8A, resolution 2025-0415-238. Resolution to approve and accept the bid for Triple B construction for the Evans Avenue Gravity Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. And so is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
All right, Martinez,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Next up is 8B, resolution 2025-0415-239. A resolution amending and approving the fee appendix, schedule for fees and changes in the West Liberty, Iowa code for water parks and recreation, police and library departments. And you may note from, City Clerk Hoffert's correspondence that there was a second page that wasn't included. So is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second,
Is there discussion?
I had some questions. And I think Sherry wrote me back, so I kind of understand, because I was reading this. I was looking like at B, season passes, and I didn't see the fee for season passes, but the clerk had, explained that they're not in there because they're only things that are changing, right? So in our actual ordinance, you'll see that fee, and it's the same as the previous year.
Yep, so the ones that you will see, and this is per our codifier, this is the new way that we will do it. We will, when you see the fee appendix, you will only see the updated portions of it. So anything that you don't see on there will remain the same as it is in the fee appendix on our city code.
Okay, so for like the water tapping fee, I see there's a significant increase, but is that increase just for the corporate? Like what's corporate valve, or is it for all residents?
No, if it's just for that. So if you go out to our city code, there is a chart and there are multiple different levels to it. None of the others change, just that one section. So
Okay.
in one, the tap size for the corporate valve and the tapping fee itself, that is only for that
Okay.
portion.
Perfect. That's the only questions I had.
Are there other questions or discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Parizek,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Okay, up next is 8C, resolution 2025-0415-240. A resolution to approve reimbursement to the Worst Barger Services West Liberty Economic Development Mansion Grant. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Mr. Mayor and Council, it's staff's recommendation to approve the reimbursement. As you can see, the Worksburgers, they provided some photos of, correcting the safety issue with the, collapsing wall. And it looks really nice, and they were really good working with the building inspector, during the time frame, identifying, to make sure that the safety, they had evacuated, removed people from the building to make sure for their safety. So we appreciate that, they thought of all of the safety concerns as they were working on it, on this project, so.
I agree. We all saw the before pictures and now the after pictures, and it looks really nice, actually.
Yeah, it does.
It's a good building too.
And my understanding was is the infrastructure clear in the entire, so from the inside out has been realigned and repaired, so. So they didn't just, sometimes on the brick facades, they'll just do the outside, but our inspector said they did a very thorough job and went all the way into the internal brick and brought it out, so.
All right, are there further questions or discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
McFerren,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Parizek.
Yep.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, next up is setting the date for the Building and Grounds Committee to go over the city administration building and pool status. I believe that this is the Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member Martinez. We would like to have you meet as soon as possible. What's the first date the two of you are available?
I'm available any morning up until 1, otherwise weekends or next Tuesday.
Weekends are better, I'm sorry.
Yeah, weekends are better for me.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
this weekend's Easter, so
Yeah, that's kind of,
you wanna do next,
and we want to have city staff there. I kind of wonder about weekends.
That's fine.
Yeah. I can make that work and I can coordinate, Adam's shaking yes and, yeah, between Adam and Shari.
Saturday, the 19th, this Saturday, work?
This Saturday will not work with the
Okay.
holidays, sorry.
Okay, no problem. The 26th then?
26.
Yep.
At what
Adam,
time?
Shari.
Um, Yeah. yeah, we can do that.
Right for you, Adam?
Yeah.
So you're on the 26.
I'll have the clerk coordinate an agenda and the calendar invite for you.
All right, up next is item 8E, set the date for the public hearing for the FY 25-26 budget for April 22nd at 6:30 PM at the West Liberty Public Library. Any objections to that? Do we have consensus for that time period?
One second, I'm gonna put it in there right now so I don't forget.
1 week from today,
At 6:30, you said?
6:30 PM. Yeah. Okay. So next up, a little background on this. I was thinking a while back about knowing what things are coming ahead. When I was a kid, my father hated any kind of sentimentality, and in the 50s and 60s, television was kind of the king thing in the world. And so they would end like a Bonanza episode by saying, stay tuned for exciting scenes from next week's episode. And if my father blew his nose or wiped his eyes, you knew you didn't get to watch that TV program the next week. And I got to thinking that it would be kind of nice if council members knew a little bit ahead of time of some of the things that are coming up. So we're going to add this to the agenda, and it is not going to be a complete list because it's likely things that will come up that need to be added, but it gives you some of what we know at this point, things that will be coming up at the next council meeting. So we'll have a presentation, the May 6th meeting, we'll have a presentation on the rate study. We also will be finalizing the city engineer agreement and the safety, IMWCA safety, which means.
So that would be the Stacy Griffith and her boss Dean, and I can't think of Dean's last name right now.
Her Shari or something.
Yeah, so they have reached out to us. You got a letter from them.
Right, yes.
Yeah, and so they are prepared to come in and talk to the council to give you an update on the work of the city safety culture and community work.
We'll be looking at the city code of conduct next time. Also, we did, the evaluation for Lee last year, and so, at that time, I said that instead of individual, interviews, I would be, handing out, the evaluation form to each one of you. So I'll do that at the May sixth meeting and would like to have those back May 31st. So give you some time, to complete those. And let's see, at some point, we need to make the decision on the 3 members of the fire department board, because the first 3 have to have staggered terms. So that may be something that we discuss next council meeting. Unless there are questions, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we are adjourned.